It's that time of the year again. People all over the world are gathering together in harmonious union to find out what the greatest games of the year are. Surely everyone's gonna feel the same, right?
We are in our crowd.
I know, man, gamers!
Gamers.
Except we aren't talking about the good stuff quite yet. It's time for the third annual Worst and Most Disappointing Games of the Year video. That's right, as of now I've trudged through nearly 1,000 days of bargain bins and soul-sucking letdowns to bring you the bottom of the barrel. Why? Because. Like previous years, I'm gonna do my best to avoid easy targets in indie studios. Like, yes, WWE 2K20 is an absolute disaster, and it's simultaneously hilarious and depressing, but that's all you're gonna get out of me. Also, Pokemon is not on here. Do I look like Twitter to you? But before we get started, I want to talk to y'all briefly about today's sponsor, NordVPN. The internet is a scary place. One moment you're browsing the internet on your phone normally, then whoops, you connected to that public Wi-Fi, and now Tommy knows way too much about you. Yeah, well, screw Tommy, because now we can protect our privacy and take control of our experience online with NordVPN. NordVPN is a service for desktop and mobile that reroutes and encrypts your IP address to keep your credentials safe and secure. Now, recently, Nord was the victim of a small breach, and as someone who has endorsed it as well as actively uses it for well over a year now, I feel obligated to speak out. Nord doesn't keep activity logs, so no private information was leaked, and it wasn't much of a big deal, but going forward, Nord's gonna be moving to 100% privately owned servers to prevent something like this from ever happening again. After looking pretty heavily into this and speaking with the team, I feel confident enough not to just keep using it, but also to endorse it. So if you wanna shield up and take control of your internet experience today, head on over to nordvpn.com/Austin Eruption to get a special limited holiday deal. Use the code Austin Eruption to get 81% off a 3-year plan with 4 free months, and the NordPass Password Manager app. Check them out today. So yo, it's Austin, and you know what this is. Let's dive right into the worst and most disappointing games of the year, starting with one that literally only I was excited for, Jumanji. It's really hard not to like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I tried really hard, and so did millions of others. But no one can stop the great one. So when I saw that Jumanji reboot a few years ago, I knew I would probably at the very least enjoy Dwayne on the silver screen, and well, yeah, my feeble mind was pleased. So here we are 2 years later, a second reboot Jumanji film currently in theaters, and a tie-in licensed game in my hands. What year is it? Cause I thought the licensed game died with The Last Generation, but in the last year or so, we've seen a weird resurgence of them thanks to the B game coming back. Now, this ain't the first Jumanji video game. There was a PS2 one back in the day, and a tie-in for the Robin Williams original, but none of those are as ambitious as Jumanji: The Next Level. It's weird enough that we're playing a video game that's a modernized big budget reboot of a 90s kids movie, one that says, ew, board games. Let's try this digital isekai stuff. Oh god, Jumanji is Sword Art Online. So Jumanji here plays like a crossover of Left 4 Dead, Fortnite, and Hot Potato. What did I stutter? You take control of one of the 4 characters, Jack Black, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, or Dwayne, grab a gun, and have to get to the end of a level while surviving hordes of enemies. So who are these people? How did we isekai? What is the plot of what is happening? It doesn't exist, just like these hitboxes. Aha, finally! You might be watching this footage and be thinking to yourself, wow, this sure looks like Fortnite. Yeah, it sure does. Each of the 4 levels in the game consist of shooting through arenas, finding Jumanji statues to open doors, and basically just doing that over and over. You're either shooting, searching, or avoiding traps. And by avoiding, I mean just running straight through them because they won't do enough damage to kill ya, and there's always health right there. Nice. This is one of those situations where the developers only got the rights to the actors' likenesses.
Gotta pass the jewel.
More health over here!
Someone take the jewel!
So the game wants us to find 4 missing Jumanji pieces.
That is not The Rock. Dwayne has one of the more distinct voices in all of media, but they got some normal sounding guy.
You snooze, you lose.
I don't think it's very good. Oh, hello. It does not matter what you think, for now you must feast upon what I, The Rock,
and baking.
More like the pebble. Oh, this is definitely one of those extremely bad and easy kids games. One so simple that one of the rarest achievements is die 10 times. I don't know who's gonna buy Jumanji for their kid over any of these, unless you're just the worst. So this game came out in November, about a month before the movie came out, and as of me writing this on the 11th of December, the advertised online multiplayer is not available in any version of the game. Yeah, the one that you see in the stats menu, the one on the back of the box where it says PlayStation Plus is needed, the one that literally has trophies attached to it. Yeah! Good job, guys. Maybe Jumanji will get a No Man's Sky or Destiny style update where they add in multiplayer and replace Peter Dinklage or something, but until then, wait, actually no, I don't care. But as of December 23rd, somehow the multiplayer made it in right before Christmas, so yeah.
It's not every day you get a sequel to a Contra game, but in 2019, we did indeed get a sequel to a Contra game called Contra Rogue Core.
These days, it's pretty much a miracle when Konami decides it wants to rise from the ashes of the pachinko parlor and give us an actual video game. Just like last year when they released Metal Gear Survive, or my main squeeze, Bomber Girl. We all remember how good Survive was, so I went into Contra Rogue Core with the highest of expectations, and I was met with the game that was like 70% of the way there. I'm shocked, but you know, it's not. They even brought in the dude who did a ton of work on Alien Wars and Hardcore, the best one. The Western-styled comic book art style is incredibly beautiful looking and memorable, the voice acting is good enough, and the dialogue's pretty humorous. But if only they didn't make it a forever game. Contra becoming a character-based twin-stick shooter is just about the only evolution I could possibly see happening to the franchise. But I did not think that Contra's Destiny would be Destiny. Whether you like him or not, Rogue Core is about as mechanically sound as a twin-stick shooter can become. Each character has 2 weapons and a special ability that is always over the top and pretty fun to look at. Yeah, the first time, anyway. It's the same animation every time, and only at night. The second you get to a level where it's not dark as hell outside, you'll see just how ugly this game is. It's like I'm looking at PS3 models and early PS2 environments. Granted, things in the Contra world are supposed to be horrifying and ugly, so that makes sense, but this is just bad. The Destiny problem comes in with the gear creep. Boss barely taking damage now? Time to upgrade stuff. Not enough stuff? Time to grind. In Contra. Nice. There's a metric frick ton of numbers to keep track of on the screen, and just none of it is interesting or worth it. It also glitches out sometimes and does things like forgetting to spawn any enemies in an entire section of a level. I think Rogue Core had the potential to be something interesting, but its insistence on trying to be a modern game holds it back. If they scaled this back a bit, made it like a 2 to 5 hour long campaign with co-op, not sold at $40, I think it could have been decent. Like a year extra work too. Just go back in the oven. I don't know how you mess up the game where you can play as a massive panda with a gun, but congratulations, Konami, y'all did it.
Speaking of forever games that want all of your time, money, property, and significant others, let's talk about Anthem.
The last few years haven't been very kind to BioWare. Ever since they got bought out by EA, they can't seem to go on too long without a big controversy. 2018's Mass Effect Andromeda wasn't great or finished, and it seems like the general reaction to Anthem was exactly the same. Congrats, nothing has changed. Initially, I wasn't even interested in Anthem. I could tell from the start that it was just gonna be another forever game trying to take all of my time so I can't play anything else, but Final Fantasy XIV is currently in that spot, so bye-bye. Then the reviews dropped. Then the overreactionary YouTube videos dropped. Then BioWare's PR dropped off the face of the planet. And now with the latest patch of Anthem 1.5, things seem to be in cryostasis. People on the forums are like, hello? The price has been steadily decreasing lower and lower. This game's basically the new Brink. So eventually that $sign dropped all the way to a $5, and like, how can you resist? It's either a copy of Anthem or a Taco Bell combo, and I could stand to have a little less burrito in this body, so I went with the game.
I'd buy that for $1.
And now I totally get it.
Anthem isn't a bad game. In fact, it's pretty dang fun to play. The problem is, it just stops.
For $5, you're gonna get a 20-ish hour-long campaign with a couple of side missions, a forgettable story, a lack of meaningful or deep companion interactions, and barely any variety. The loot system's power scaling doesn't mean jack. The cash shop really wants you to buy one of the like 10 cosmetic items. The UI's clunky and feels horrible to use, and you'll run out of content faster than you can press button, and awesome happened.
The button awesome.
It's just real unfortunate that it's like really fun. I got a chance to play a bunch of the javelin types you get, and oh my god, some of them, especially the Interceptor, control real good. It's like the hybrid of Iron Man and Armored Core I never knew I wanted. The suit part and color customization has a lot of options on the surface, and some of the abilities you unlock feel great. The world is pretty to look at, even on console, and the sound design around your suit actions are massive. Moving around with friends feels good. I suckered 2 others into playing with me, but it's pretty likely that you won't have that experience. You'll just be tossed into this large, empty world without companions to accompany you, a sluggish story to trudge through, and maybe promises of a good game on the horizon. The current yeehaw out there is that BioWare is interested in rescuing this game, but nothing's been officially said. After playing it for a decent amount with my own hands, I can safely say that Anthem's not bad, just extremely disappointing. BioWare and EA just need to hurry up and give me that Anthem Jumanji next. No, that's wrong.
Every year, I pick one low-hanging fruit. In 2017, it was that Bubsy Kickstarter reboot. In 2018, it was 2 fruit, actually. I did Shaq Fu and that one horse thing. 2019, however, did give us another Bubsy, but I thought I would go lower. Garfield Kart!
You bet your sweet thing I played this. What, you think I'm a filthy normie? Down with Mario Kart, in with the Garf. This is Garfield Kart Furious Racing, the hot sequel to 2013's Garfield Kart, a true masterpiece. I'm pleased to announce that this is just as good as I expected. I've been wanting to talk about a Garfield game since I started this channel, but I was never sure of when or why. Everyone's favorite orange comic strip and CG monstrosity feline has more video games, merchandise, Pokemon Go clones, and apps than you could shake a stick at. Back in the days, Jim Davis would sell good old Garf's likeness to just about anyone if eBay Garfield is to be trusted. There's a few games that are decent, like Caught in the Act on the Genesis, but this ain't that. This is Furious Racing. A pun on fur and furious, maybe, but it sure is a kart racer. 2019 has been the year of kart racing games coming out left and right, a lot of them with that bottom of the barrel quality. You got this, of course, or ones like Team Sonic Racing, Crash Team Racing after that update, and Racing with Ryan. A sold out game whose value is skyrocketing. But only one of these lets John Arbuckle do some sick drifts. Who's Harry? Why does he look like a cat version of someone's anime OC? I don't know what to tell you. This game's awful. It's a terrible feeling kart racer. You're gonna be drifting and then you're gonna be like flying into the sides of walls because it feels awful to control. It's Garfield Kart.
Next up, we're leaving the fictional realm and diving into something a little more based in reality, American Ninja Warrior.
No, you aren't having a stroke. Somebody made an American Ninja Warrior video game. Like most people who enjoy melting on the couch, from time to time I love me a good old reality TV show. Be it Survivor, The Mole, Amazing Race, Queer Eye, there's always something that can turn my brain off to. But I've especially always liked watching people push the human body to its limits. I think growing up watching the Nickelodeon brand of these shows was a big part of that, with things like Legends of the Hidden Temple or Guts, making me instantly vulnerable to Ultimate Beastmaster or, of course, American Ninja Warrior. The original version of this, Sasuke, used to air on G4 as simply Ninja Warrior. This, MXC, and the Unbeatable Bansuke were the 3 go-tos for, normal people doing absurd physical challenges TV shows? What do we call this? Then of course America had to yoink it for themselves and American Ninja Warrior was born. It's basically the same thing. Now reality TV show video games aren't uncommon, but they are a guilty pleasure of mine. That Duck Dynasty Animal Crossing clone is still one of the funniest things I've ever seen. These games are notoriously bad, yet still sell most of the time because of gullible parents and people who don't know what the internet is, or me. So after playing it for a couple hours, I'm happy to say that the boys are back in town. Appearing on the channel for a 3rd time now is Game Mill Entertainment. Cartoon Network Battle Crashers and Nickelodeon Kart Racer were such Perfection. American Ninja Warrior Challenge on the every console is generally pretty bad, but the Nintendo Switch version of this game is a treat. It's been a minute since every single second of a video game was a disaster. Frame rate? Like a constant 13, maybe? Anytime I try to press a button, there's like a whole half second between me hitting it and something happening, which is like effort. That delay makes gameplay real hard because nearly every action in Ninja Warrior Challenge is a QTE. Press button and awesome truly does happen. Sound effects? You don't need those. You get to make your own original character using a list of pre-made names for some reason, which is weird since they don't seem to say my character's name anyways. So here we are, Janelle Aller, a professional bounty hunter. She is beautiful at 15 frames a second. You can tell this game's great because the second you pop into a level, without fail, every time, my hair pops in nearly a second later. Also, I don't think I've ever seen this before, but American Ninja Warrior Challenge actually crashed. I didn't know Switch games could crash, but it's 2019 and here we are, Game Mill, my boys. American Ninja Warrior Challenge gets a 5 out of 5.
All right, enough with the shovelware. It's time to talk about something that I know a bunch of you guys like. Well, some of you. Gungan Pixies. You know who you are.
I feel like we haven't hit the quota of pervy anime games on this channel for the year yet, and 2019 was filled with a lot of them. There was that one where the boobs get bigger when you level up. There were 2 Senran Kagura games, and if Twitter has me in the know-how, there's that new Fire Emblem. I was almost gonna go with Senran Kagura Peach Ball because, woo! But really, it's like a totally run-of-the-mill whatever pinball game that's totally playable, and I'm not gonna knock on it for that. However, Gungan Pixies, woo!
Before we go any further, let's talk for a second. Gungan Pixies actually covers a lot of serious issues. One of the first characters we're introduced to is a girl that has extreme self-image and body issues, even though it's not a big deal, and she's engorging herself in this diet gum, causing issues with her roommates, and, you know, being unhealthy. You and her friends are trying to stop her from hurting herself. So how do you go about doing that?
Sometimes I wonder what Miyamoto thinks. In Gungan Pixies, you control one of the 2 alien girls, Bitan and Kamepon, and you're on a mission to observe and help the people of Earth. Your home planet's having a crisis because of a lack of social communication, so you gotta like figure out what those dastardly Earthlings are doing and try to save your own planet. And you do that by shooting happy bullets at them in order to combat any kind of negative feelings and encourage socialization. That's the plot. Gungan Pixies might have come out on the Vita in 2017, but it only popped over here in the States in 2019 thanks to P-Cube's ballsiness. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is that Gungan Pixies was a Strand game before Kojima did it. Game, set, match, dreamers! Despite what it was trying to say, if you look beyond the bouncing bosoms, moaning anime girls, weird narrative dissonance, and one of the main characters being an actual predator, you're left with an awful feeling game. The controls feel awful. You hit jump and it only registers half the time, and the camera control options are either way too fast or way too slow. Each chapter takes place in this girls only dormitory, and you end up just going back between 2 or 3 rooms, pumping love bullets into the girls, fighting off squids with condoms on their heads, and oh yeah, if you die, which you probably won't, your progress resets all the way to the beginning of whatever cutscene you just saw, which can't be easily skipped through. It's irritating. Look, I'm all down to play some dumb, horny stuff sometimes, provided the gameplay is fun, but unfortunately, this was not the sequel to Mr. Mosquito that I wanted. This game sucks. And also, it's false advertising, considering the back of the box states that it's a first-person shooter, which it clearly is not. Unless, of course, that first-person view is the camera creeping on girls, creeping on other girls, in which case, touche. Gungan Pixies is another one of those quickly produced Idea Factory joints, the forefathers of that Hyperdimension Neptunia fellow, and sure enough, she's here too. So if you've ever wanted to shoot Nep Nep right in the butt and make her make weird faces, I guess this is the game for you. Ugh, why can't I at least shoot love bullets at some dads?
Alrighty, one last stinky game and I'm gonna go home because I'm tired of this. Let's talk about Front Mission.
If you've never heard of Front Mission, I don't blame you, considering only 5 of the 15 games made it outside of Japan. Simply put, Square back in the day was like, hey, mechs are cool, and made a few dope-ass strategy RPGs, a couple spin-offs like Gun Hazard and Alternative. The first one we got was Front Mission 3, and I remember it being kind of a big deal in the States, cause, well, it was a mecha Final Fantasy Tactics, and it was hard. What else would you ask for? Well, apparently, a few other games that no one really seemed to care about over here, then a Western-made one, Front Mission Evolved. This came out in 2010 and was notorious for making a mecha game where you spend a lot of time running around on foot, like an idiot. You know, the same thing Star Fox Adventures and Assault did. There were promises of zoom in and Newman, but instead, so after this, Square Enix was like, I'ma head out, and went out for a pack of smokes and forgot about Front Mission for nearly a decade. Then, with close to no fanfare out of nowhere, Left Alive kinda just petered out like a low pressure shower at Tokyo Game Show 2017 and then dripped onto the PS4 and PC earlier this year. Hi there, hello. How is a game whose cover has that instantly recognizable Yoji Shinkawa Metal Gear Solid style artwork, a game where you control Wanzers, these giant mech slide boys, so unmemorable?
Probably because they failed in every conceivable manner.
Left Alive is a stealth, mecha, war drama, and choose-your-own-adventure video game that's just way too ambitious for a game studio best known for licensed anime games. Especially because when you look at a lot of the individual pieces, Left Alive has a lot going on. The narrative, characters, world design, and atmosphere are pretty much on point for what it wants to be. Left Alive picks up the reins of Metal Gear Solid 4 and throws us into this war-stricken world because war never changes. Or war has changed? I don't know. The cutscenes are well directed and build up a drama that is interesting enough.
Meow.
For the most part. Some of the dialogue's a little cringe-inducing, and some characters will just Jerry Seinfeld themselves into a scene.
You like baseball?
Each of the 3 main characters views the central conflict in a different manner, sometimes coming into each other's roots as an antagonist, but whatever, none of this matters, because the game is just so bad.
Damn it.
Left Alive plays like 2010 Eurojank. The control scheme is awful, stealth mechanics barely work, utilizing your tools and crafting is nothing but a pain in the butt. That and the AI doesn't even seem to know what a stealth game is, cause sometimes they'll just spot you through a wall and then start shooting at it. And other times they'll just stare you directly in the face and be like, where are you? Hello? Where's the camera focusing on this scene? What's going on? Why are my arms so short? Left Alive is a clunky, glitchy mess that has such bad gameplay that I wouldn't wish this on anyone. The erratic AI will either stop you dead in your tracks or you'll bump past them no problem. If you die, you go back to your last manual save point, which sometimes is a good 30 or 40 minutes of gameplay. It's very punishing and very fun. It's not. It's not. Also, you might have noticed that I really haven't talked about the mech thing. If you thought Front Mission Evolved didn't have enough mech action, give this one a shot. In 4 hours of playing, which included 10 deaths, I only got to pilot one for 2 minutes. 2 minutes! And it wasn't even that fun! Who did this? As a fan of Front Mission, Left Alive is a disappointing reminder that the obscure franchise I've always dug is gonna stay buried. As a fan of video games, Left Alive is one of the worst AAA games of the year, if not the decade. Only just don't.
And as a fan of life itself, I would recommend you stay away from all of these games, except maybe Anthem if they fix it, and Garfield Kart if you just like really want to make your friends hate you. Anyways, here's to 2020. May the new decade bless us with less awful games, but considering everything in this video just came out in the last year, probably not.
We are gamers.
Thank you all so much for watching. Special Patreon shout out to Alfredo Ariano, Brandon Howell, Christopher Olivia, Cliff Bro, Donald Dowdy, David Molnar, Eli Shane Staufenekar, Flaming Fighter, Jacoby Fitzpatrick, Irrational, Jay Roos, Josh Garbage Lord, Legend Gary, Nitron, Plasma Phoenix, and Vlad Lust. Thank you so much for watching. Merry Christmas. Hope you had a good Christmas. Buy a t-shirt.